All right. Hi, everybody. We're doing the May 2024 COA meeting. It is going to be a hybrid model. We've got one person on Zoom and we've got everybody else on in person as of this point. Can you call the roll for me, please?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I'm here, Karen Schultz, Linda Robinson here, Lori Farabee,
Here.
Kate Bliss,
Here.
Pat Wheeler,
Here.
Bob Blair, not yet. Okay. And Victoria's here with us as well. Who's John Barrett?
We'll talk about it.
Oh, okay, all right. So we're gonna review and approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Would anybody like to make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
Second.
Second.
Oh, Karen Schultz, I, Lori Robinson, Linda Robinson,
Aye. I'll answer whatever.
Lori Farabee,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Pat Wheeler.
Here. Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Sorry about that.
Do you want me to do it so we can take?
Oh. That would be awesome. Except for now I can't see the thing, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, and we don't have any others joining us like Chris.
No, I believe Mr. Blair may have just pulled it in the back, but we'll deal with that in a minute.
Fiscal updates, donations, expenses, part-time wages and director wages.
Well, thank you, Kate.
Mhm.
All right, so the donations for the last month were $155 even. My wages were $2,422.09. I'm sorry, that was expenses, my bad. 2209 was expenses. And that was mostly grab and go and Powder House. And then my wages were $26.45 even. We did not have any part-time wages because our van driver's been out on a medical leave, but they should be returning hopefully by the second full week of June.
Do we have an update on Tai Chi, yoga, blood pressure clinics? Anything an update?
I do. So Tai Chi has been continuing with Reverend Helen. She's been doing an excellent job. We've been getting excellent feedback from everybody. She does a very different style of Tai Chi compared to what we had previously. She starts off sessions with a meditation and she ends them in a meditation. So people are very chill as they're walking out of the door. It's very nice. So we have been doing a mixed hybrids of yoga and Tai Chi through Zoom. Starting in June, we have been able to secure a paid Zoom account for COA Social Services. So Tai Chi and yoga instructors will be able to log on themselves and control hybrid meetings that way, because previous to that, it was me opening up every single meeting.
So who can do that? So you're starting in June, there's a paid Zoom account.
Yep, so the
Yeah.
Tai Chi and yoga instructors themselves will be able to log on and make the meetings hybrid. Or else they
Oh,
would have just been pure in person only, which is no bueno, because we do have some people who would like to come virtually.
And they don't have their own account?
No, nor would they, so, yeah, so that will be a pretty helpful, tool for everybody to have as well, so, yeah, it's paid for a calendar, it's paid for a calendar year, so it will renew again, mid-May of 2025.
Okay.
And it was about $160, but that was paid through for social services, so we are good.
Okay.
And then blood pressure clinics, nothing as of yet, but for drivers, I did interview somebody at the beginning of the month. They are in the process of getting me the paperwork that is needed for them to drive. They have driven vans before, not only with local municipalities, but also at the regional level. So they are familiar with kind of like the bigger buses, bigger routes, all that jazz. So I have a driving record for them. I am just pending paperwork so we can run their CORI and their CPR certification that they'll need to have, and basically just clear, like a clearance from health saying that they're fit to do their job.
How many drivers does that make total then?
If we get that lady in, it will be 2,
where's the other one? Because you said that no one's been driving.
because our main driver, he's out on a medical
Yeah,
leave.
main driver, okay.
Yep.
And the other one? just-
And that's it. That's all we've only had one driver.
Oh, so we'll have two when the other one
Yes.
comes back from
Yeah,
medical.
yep, yep,
I'm sorry.
Does he have any time when he's coming back?
Second week of June.
So the main
ETA,
driver.
yeah,
So right now we got the zip.
correct.
When in June? I'm sorry.
Second week.
Second week of June. And this new person?
As soon as we have to get paperwork in, and then they've got to get cleared,
Okay.
through the town side.
So we don't really know.
Mm-mm.
Kind of an old question.
Yep.
Did anybody inquire about taking the van for our town meeting in May? Or has anybody inquired about taking the van for the town meeting coming up in?
So the request has been made for the town meeting in June. The question is gonna be, as of right now, we do not have a COA driver who drives on Mondays. And the town would need to then have somebody from another department drive the van. Right, so like, and that Kristen has been made aware of that. That at this point, if somebody wanted to drive the van, for a town meeting, that like the COA would not necessarily have any objections. It's just the fact that we can't pay the wages of somebody who makes far more than what our drivers make. So it would be up to the select board if they, or another department, if they wanted to pay for that for town meeting, then
How
that's
does that work if somebody in town wanted to volunteer, if this individual didn't? need by
So
truck?
you have to be vetted to drive town vehicles.
No,
because-
I
oh.
just mean like a neighbor driving.
Oh, I mean, like, if a private citizen wanted to drive another private citizen, that's between them. The
Okay.
COA cannot facilitate that.
Right.
Like, people are allowed to do as they please with that.
But you have a request for somebody,
Right.
Does
and if
that
we can't
person-
do it, you can't say, oh, well, maybe so-and-so could drive you.
We can basically just tell them at this point, like, you can either reach out to, friends or family, or you can see if you have another resource. But I mean, like, if, say, for example, the town wanted to have somebody drive the van, we would need to have somebody who's vetted from the town.
Yeah.
So they'd have to have like their quarry, they'd have to have their clean driving record, they'd have to be cleared to drive, for the
Yeah.
liability for the town. So
Mhm.
like Bob said, fire, EMS, police, highway are also, basically vetted and cleared members of the town. So hypothetically, somebody who's off duty could come,
Mhm.
and then the town would then have to pick up their wages for whatever the length of the meeting would be. But I
But if
told,
somebody wanted to volunteer, you couldn't say to that person, hey, we know some people who are volunteering, it would be like a conflict.
we,
Yeah. is
Yeah,
a
it gets
conflict
a-
if
I think
somebody
that's what
on
you're
this
asking.
No,
board
so-
offers to drive somebody and this individual, are they making the request because they're in a wheelchair? or-
well, and that's the, and that's the other,
what
gonna be
we're
the other thing too. I would say generally speaking, like, if, say, for example, like, I'm gonna make up a human, like, if Joe Smith said like, hey, like, my wife and I don't feel comfortable driving at night, do you know of anybody who's driving? And if I have a list of names, I can say, here are 3 people, you can contact them and coordinate it on your own. I can't facilitate that.
Yeah.
But if it were somebody who needed an accommodation, like a wheelchair or something like that, then that would have to go through the van. Did I answer
But you
your
just have
question?
one inquiry.
The only like, the
No.
only person, the only inquiry I had gotten was actually from a board member of another board who wanted to have the van running to transport people.
Okay. I'm
And then
sorry.
that's when I told Kristen, this is what needs to happen
Yeah.
Got it.
to
I thought you meant
be.
kind of.
Yeah, I did too.
Sorry, my bad.
That's
No,
right.
no, it's okay.
Think we got it now.
And then any other van updates?
That's where we're at for now.
So you also you already mentioned the new Zoom.
There is one other one. That is that,
Mhm.
both the manager of those regional transit authority, the director, and the chair of the board of directors of the advisory council, which has members from all of the towns in their area, have stated their complete preparedness and willingness to come out and talk to Kristen and whoever about
Great.
the possibilities. I don't know exactly what they are, but
So the
Okay.
manager and who else you said of the regional transit?
the chair of the, what's the Regional Transit Authority Advisory Board? Of which I don't remember, I'm not Berlin rep.
Oh, okay. So they're willing to come talk with
I
Kristen?
use my vast authority.
Yeah.
Get
Is that
whatever.
what
we
you said?
want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you did that. Thank you.
Next is the new Zoom links for Tai Chi and yoga.
Correct.
It's jumping out right now.
Yes, so what I'll do is, Lori, I'll make sure you have the link info for the new Tai Chi and Zoom for the next Powder House edition. And
Okay,
I'm gonna send out emails to everybody on Friday, making sure everybody knows what the new links are going forward
For Tai Chi
and for yoga. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, that ushers us right into the COA director resignation.
Yep, so my last day is Friday. As of right now, I am working to get everything tied up
Is that 31st?
Correct. I have put in senior work off requests for an assistant for COA social services until a new director is appointed.
You put in what?
Senior work off requests.
Oh,
So basically,
Tax board.
work off. requests.
yeah,
To basically check the emails, phone messages every couple days, just, respond back out. I am still doing all of the Shine work for the town. So anything related to Medicare, Medicaid, questions about benefits if somebody's eligible, especially come open enrollment period in October. So I will still be doing that for the town at least until the spring, next spring. They are short of volunteers in terms of like doing a new training. I know that there at one point in time was a resident who has been on the waiting list to do the Shine training, so unfortunately, they weren't able to do one for this spring, and they have to wait till it's kind of a slower time. So my hope is that by next spring, they'll have another round of volunteers that can come in and continue to help out with that as well, so.
Or would the new director potentially have that?
Possibly, I think it's really just gonna depend. Yeah, I mean, well, other COAs usually
unless they're
do have
coming
staff.
from another COA.
Or like elder service agencies themselves usually have Shine counselors, so it usually just depends on like what their availability is. We do have a few COAs who are in the region who have staff who are Shine counselors. It's usually not the director.
You usually
But-
volunteers, it could be anybody, you don't have to have any type of.
No,
service.
but there is there's two classifications for it. There's one that's a pure volunteer, which is like, usually they're people who are retired who just want to know this information and pass it along. And then there others are paid staff from a organization. So whether it's a COA, whether it's elder services or somebody else, hospitals, things of that nature, they can all be Shine certified as well. So there's just different criteria depending on what you are. So I will switch from a paid staff to a volunteer come June 1st. That's all.
So who's taking phone calls?
We're figuring that out. I have asked to see if Peggy can do it for the month of June, only because I'm more worried about the next month as opposed to next fiscal year. Because at that point, the job will be posted and hopefully Kristen will be able to fill it. But unfortunately, until the school stuff gets settled, that's kind of priority number one at this point.
So what's advertised?
Nothing so
No,
far.
the job has not been.
It hasn't been
not been.
advertised yet.
Has it been finalized,
What?
the description?
No. Because, so it is gonna depend on what happens with the school stuff, because it will determine budgets for all the departments, it will determine wages for all the departments, and it will also determine too hours and things of that for the job. If it's gonna stay 40 or if it's gonna decrease,
So that may change.
it might, I don't know.
Is there any consideration for separating COA role from the
To be determined.
social service?
That's gonna really be up to Kristen at this point, like I said,
Is
unfortunately.
Kristen touching base with us at all, or are we just sitting out in the wings?
Once the job gets posted with whatever job description is gonna be out there, you guys are gonna become involved. To what extent in terms of like, I don't know if she's gonna start doing like rounds of vetting and then you guys can end, or if she's gonna ask if one of you guys wanna sit on some of these meetings, that I'm not sure of. But as of right now, unfortunately, all departments are kind of at a standstill until the budget gets finalized formally. And then.
Oh, right, because informally, I mean, the money's there,
It
the
is.
job is full-time.
Yes, as it has been written now, it is, but
Right.
unfortunately, like I said. Because the budgets are still in flux for FY 25, that has to be finalized first, because that will determine
Mhm.
everything.
And I think previously you had said it would be hard to find the part-time social services.
It's gonna be, I think it depends on how Kristen wants to structure it, and it depends too on the wages. I mean, sometimes it is easier to find one full-time person if the funding is there to do both sides of it. I would suspect that like if they're not getting any traction with one way, they will debate about either than splitting the position.
Can you give us insight? I don't have a clue, so into, sort of how your day or week is as far as the COA stuff and the rest of the position?
I mean, to be honest with you, it blends constantly because everything that's pretty much COA is social service, but not everything that's social service is COA. Because if I'm dealing with a younger population, or if I'm dealing with more like a mental health emergency or mental health like stuff in that sense, that is all social services. I mean, if there's anything that needs to be done, like coordination of care, like in terms of like van rides, if people have questions about like Mass Health, Medicare, that's technically Shine and COA social services. If there's anything regarding like ADA work, that's its own separate category. So, I mean, most of the stuff most of the communication I get now is either phone call or email, and more of it's becoming email. Especially if it's family members whose loved ones still live in town, but they do not. There has been, most of the time when we get a call in, it's usually because somebody either has a general question or they're trying to book a van ride, 9 times out of 10. But I would say the general communication, I'm getting more and more email. So that may be like, do we have this piece of equipment available? Do we have, I have a question about, like SNAP benefits, or like, can you tell me about fuel assistance, things of that nature? Like most of it's now coming in on email. Like I said, that it really just depends on the person's age, because COA starts at age 60, but it encompasses everything plus social services, and social services is basically 59 and younger.
Could we have more of like an FAQ section on the COA side of the website
Sure.
with some of those questions that you get on a regular basis?
Yeah, I can add that in.
That same as you asking who's gonna be able to receive those now, it's only.
Well, I'm just
Victoria
wondering
at
if,
this point.
like SNAP and that whole process, or if some of those questions we could just plug into the website and people could get their answers that way before they even get to the phone number.
Yeah.
But who is, after you go on Friday, who is picking up those calls?
I've asked Peggy to see if she can do it.
And
I
what's
don't-
her response so far?
I'm waiting to hear back.
We don't have anybody.
There's no one is the answer.
So why is it not more than one person? Is there some qualification that you have to?
I mean, the problem that you're gonna run into regardless is that, I mean, I've got a lot of HIPAA sensitive stuff on this computer.
Yeah.
I would like it to not be like 35 people who have access.
Well, I don't
to
think
this
it really
stuff.
can be. I mean, you
Right.
can't, that you, yeah.
So like, that's the only thing is I mean, like, the reality is that like multiple people are gonna have access. It is what it is. But my concern is just making sure like it's almost like the limited necessary.
Can I ask another question, which might be funny? Would you say that the job is actually split 50-50, or would you say that?
No,
more
I
of
would
it
say I would say
originates on the
honestly,
public Safety side.
no,
COA.
I would say it's more COA than social service, to be honest with you.
Huh.
Because that's who I get most, so generally speaking, most of the iteration that I get, like day to day or week to week, is usually council on aging side. But usually when it's a crisis or an emergency, that's when it's social service.
So it does, like, I think about social services, and if someone wants to know how their SNAP benefits, that would be social services to me. Does the town divide it so that if you're over 60, no matter what you need, it's COA?
Generally speaking, yes. I mean, the way that the job description is now is that like all those resources, all those applications under COA do follow for people under 60. And the social services component was to really incorporate everybody who's not a senior. Because I would get calls where people who are not technically seniors who would have questions about this stuff. And of course, I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna meet with them because I'm not mean. And I want people to get the information that they need. And I think the concern is that if we start to see an uptick, and I would say that generally speaking, like, it's been pretty consistent, but again, obviously barring a crisis. It's been pretty consistent with, social services calls and things of that nature, but part of what social services wanted to do too, which, also will incorporate COA, was trying to do more proactive work. But I've been pulled in so many different directions, I haven't been able to do that yet.
Mhm.
And that was a lot of what social services wanted to do as well, is to be a bit more proactive as opposed to reactive.
That was my question too, if we wanted to think about in the future, expanding senior activities, we're gonna have cribbage matches here, I'm making things up.
Yeah,
Is there really time for that?
I mean, with a staff of one, no. No, not with a staff of one. And not with the budget you have. But down the road, I mean, if you can get somebody else in, I know that like originally too, you know, I've talked to Kristen about this, that like ideally, like if you have a director in who's got some even clinical knowledge, they can either coordinate or they can even host like support groups, caregiver dinners, things of that nature too, where it's like it's giving people a little bit of a break. You know, just knowing that, what I've noticed with Berlin, and I'm sure you guys can all attest to this, is it's like, I can't tell you how many calls or emails I've gotten where it's like, I may not need you right now, but boy, I'm thankful you're there. Cause when I do need you, I know who to call. And that's a good chunk of my interactions with just the general public. And then the people who do need me will reach out and say, hey, silly question, blah. And then I reassure there's no such thing as a dumb question. Please answer it. Please ask, because you're not the first person who has. And then we, you know, proceed forward from there.
Are you having an exit interview where you can get feedback about how this role can be improved and more
I
effective?
had one 2 weeks ago. And Kristen, I think I was with Kristen for almost 2 hours. And she took quite a lot of notes. So and she wanted the feedback. So it was productive.
I guess segue into next steps for new hire. A
So,
lot more than what we
yeah.
started.
So unfortunately, I think until the school budget and everything budget wise gets settled, you guys are gonna be in a holding pattern.
Mhm.
Because once that happens, Kristen can then pursue finalizing the job description, get it up ASAP. I don't think it necessarily will be something that's hard to fill. I think it's just gonna be making sure that, you know, it's really just gonna depend, I think, on the budget and making sure that that just gets up and.
So is the danger that there's going to be a slash to the salary?
For our 1% budget.
As of right now, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily an imminent threat. We have all kind of been told that until budgets are finalized, it's just a giant question mark. It's just a to be determined. So
They're-
I don't
they're
know.
also physically attending a lot of those meetings, right?
So,
If we get that 7.5% increase that schools want, it'll increase our available funds by $7.50.
so,
What
like I
will
said,
we do with that?
so that's just unfortunately kind of where we're at right now. So,
So it
Well,
could be
FinCom-
months.
FinCom and schools.
It's going to be
tomorrow.
months. It's not that it could be, because they haven't posted it yet. And they can't post it until they make some decisions about description, job, salary.
the only
And then
saving
you
grace
start
will be,
interviewing.
well, the only saving grace will be that starting usually in June, we usually start getting in all the applications for the work off people as well.
Yep.
As to, you know, who wants to do some hours, and we have noticed an uptick of newer applications. So I suspect that we could get to a point too, where like a work off person or people could be helping out, you know, either trying to split the load or stuff like that
Hmm.
in the interim.
Yeah. So is there a cap as to how many work on people we could accept?
Usually, so the cap hourly is 125 hours per fiscal year. And the town has set aside,
Per person? or-
yes, per person.
Okay.
And the town has set aside like a specified amount, and assessors would know that more so than I do. Confirming like how much money they've budgeted for it, but like, for example, two people in the same household cannot be work off people because it's a dual benefit. But like I said, hypothetically, I mean, I always tell people to apply when they're gonna put in a new application, apply for up to 125 hours, because the other options are 50 and 75, and the problem is like, if you only click off 50, once you hit that 50, you're done. We can't give you any
Can't
more hours,
expand
because
it.
that's all you applied for.
Right.
So we always tell people apply for the most. You may not get it, but then you're eligible for it.
So if Peggy is not interested, not able, whatever the case may be, do we have a plan B person?
I'm gonna work with her on that. I have a couple people who I think may be able to do it as a work off. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately,
What's the criteria for work off?
you have to be at least 60 or older. You have to be a Berlin resident for at least 5 years. And you have to either be an owner or renter of your property. And you have to be able to prove that like you pay taxes on it.
For at least 5 years?
Yep. So like veterans would also qualify like with the same parameters.
Budget wise, I think I heard the FinCom and the schools are meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then the 15th or 17th of June. they have
Monday.
this Special town meeting.
Mhm.
Berlin seniors were just talking about that this morning, saying. Seniors better get their act together. Schools can send out messages and round up all the parents and get them down there to vote for it if you don't have somebody else saying. Oh, what's wrong there? What's happening there? And why has nobody thought about? You can't make any cuts. You just can't make any cuts. Why is that? Whoever heard of that?
To be determined.
A lot.
Yeah.
Communications.
All right, okay, move on.
I'm ready.
Projects that will be continued.
So digital literacy is going to continue into June and July. So what we're gonna do is the digital literacy interim report has been submitted to the state and they're good with it. The grant period has been extended out. Originally, it was going to expire in December 31st. It is now going to February 28th, which now means that that's 2 more months that we can spend that money that's been allocated. I met with the 2 instructors on Friday, and they came up with a comprehensive plan on how they want to proceed forward, including dates for the rest of the term into February of what dates they want to meet. They are discussing just general topics that they want to cover during that time. Victoria and I met with a photographer who is nearby. He is going to be teaching 5 weeks of photography classes over the summer. So that is gonna be the digital literacy focus for the summer. So it's gonna be July into August. We are gonna open it up to the public. So if, say, for example, kids or someone like that wanted to attend, they could. But we are prioritizing seniors.
It's not running.
No,
So it's a photography class for 5 weeks over the summer.
Yep.
Which is somehow part of this digital literacy.
that's what we're trying to argue, yes.
Oh.
So
Okay. I just-
worst case scenario, if for any reason digital literacy says, no, you can't spend the money on it, which I'd be a little surprised, but if
Yeah.
they say that they don't, social services is the money that can pay for it.
Okay,
How many people have attended so far?
It's a mixed bag. We've had, I think our highest session was either 6 or 7. We've had a lot of one-on-ones, which has been good. What part of what they are going to do is that they're gonna spend some of the grant money to do a giant mailing of all of the classes that they're planning on having, just dates, and just kind of like giving a little like a little blast out to senior residences. That was built in as part of the grant requirements for admin costs. So they are gonna do that. And the thought is that if we highlight the photography, that'll be something kind of flashy to
So to speak.
literally.
Do you have to hand affix the barcoded person's address on each of these? buildings?
They are probably gonna just use stamps and or the postage meter that's upstairs.
Mhm.
Cause it's just gonna be easier.
Take that and post office.
Did you want to resume your chair duties?
No,
Should I
I said
continue?
no. I nominate you.
We're at
The
about
president,
50% less puns though with me in this.
actually. We'll get the meeting done faster.
All right, COA member interest, John Barrett.
Yes,
Okay.
so Mr. Barrett did send me an email about 2 weeks ago saying that he is interested in joining the COA. What I figured we could do is if you guys are interested, I can schedule him to come to the June meeting. And you guys can talk to him and see if you would like him to join the council.
how many openings are there? One or two?
One.
There is just one.
Who's
Is he from
Who's he?
Mosaic? John?
I believe so,
from
yes.
Mosaic?
RRETT.
Yeah.
2 R's, 2 T's.
Correct.
Got it.
Was he?
He's nice guy, he sells he does sterling silver jewelry and stuff like that. At 19 credit.
So yes, so he did inquire, he did complete the application, and he did say that he was interested, so my thought was if you guys would like, I can ask him to attend the June meeting, you guys can talk to him. And if you think it's a good fit, just let the select board know and they'll appoint him for the open slot.
Great.
Mini tangent, but not really. Kate and Karen's posts
Oh, yeah.
expire come Friday, they both are gonna stay on. Select board will reappoint you guys come Monday, but you have to get re-sworn in again.
This week,
And you have to do it by next Thursday, because payroll's due next Friday.
right. I was gonna do it this week.
Well,
Those
you're not
papers-
gonna get re-sworn in though until, you're not gonna get
Oh,
reappointed
until
until
they
Monday.
vote, right, yeah.
Oh, so we get reappointed Monday.
I thought I had to do the legwork here and then,
We just have to, we just have to go see, Eloise.
Eloise,
yeah.
What is payroll?
What-
for CO, what Kate signs off on payroll every week.
See, I do something here.
So,
What night is she here? There's one night.
How are we gonna do that? Where'd
Wednesday.
you go, by the
Wednesday
way?
evening, okay.
well, so I've already talked to accounting.
Yeah.
They said that they're fine with even doing emails for the rest of June until the new fiscal year starts up. They're fine with it being email. So again, like I said, like my major concern has been June. Cause
Am I tallying things or?
like I said, I'm waiting to hear back from Peggy. My hope is that at this point, it's really gonna be minimal in terms of what
We
bills are gonna
won't
be
have-
expected.
Your wages and.
No.
and the usual-
So it's really just gonna be driver wages
Yeah.
and expenses, and that will be it.
No, we won't have much to do. There's no drama right now.
Right, yeah, I won't have much to do for.
You know, the driver you pay now, COA driver. One Meals on Wheels truck.
Oh,
Correct.
oh, okay.
So I have kindly asked whomever could to get me their stuff for Thursday, so you can sign off on it, so then it gives you a little bit of a review. Welcome.
What's next?
Powerhouse news.
The July, August edition is gonna be the last one solely under COA control. I will be doing a write-up of everything, that I think seniors need to know about over the summer. I will have a write-up for the digital literacy classes. I will do a little blurb saying about the town, and I will make sure too that they also have contact information for Shine. I will put that also on the website, so if people want a Shine, if I have a Shine question, they can just email me directly, and then we're good to go.
Kate's getting the 19 Carter. Extensive catalogs that are ready for.
Actually,
July,
Jess
August.
does that now, yeah, great. Topics for next issue,
Up to you guys.
We'll work on it.
I will say that we have put in the blurb for the Powder House, if people want it mailed to call us.
Yeah.
I would advise that you put that on again for the next
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
As of right now, we've had a dozen requests.
And then when it becomes whatever it is that all gonna be digital or it's gonna be?
Printed and digital,
So the request is for
and
printed,
mailed to you directly.
but you have to the printed mail.
You
Yeah.
have to put it in, it goes to,
Yeah.
oh,
Is he watching TV?
Correct. So as of right now, we have a dozen requests for printed and mailed to you directly.
okay.
out of,
740.
so, you know, it's like
Can you do the math with me? What's
the word ain't quite yet, or else they.
Right over that.
Digital.
Hmm.
That's the
There
word.
is going to be hard copies printed, so, for example, I know the Northbrooks were fine with picking up a few. Leaving it in the common rooms and stuff like that for people to do, the library has agreed to that, I'm sure 19 Carter will. The post office will get some, general store will get some, so like there will still be some paper copies.
And what is it gonna be called?
That is a Kristen question.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
I don't think they should call it Public House News, because it isn't a senior publication.
I mean, the Powder House is still a town entity though.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
There is still a Powder House.
yeah,
Is there some affiliation with seniors with that?
other than that's what it's been.
Right, I mean,
Yeah,
that's what we've
yeah.
called it for.
No, but the three seniors have all taken a Powder.
Okay.
All right.
Victoria, we'll have contact info for Shine Counseling, which you said you'd get to us Friday. Public comments. and public business.
No public comments as of now, just generally people have just, kind of wished me well. Nothing else specific towards the COA. Grab and Go was a hit.
Sorry, I was trying to turn it off.
The,
I was trying to turn it off.
that we hung out for, never came to pick up their. stuff. We
That's
left it
okay, and that's okay. We,
long
I
after.
heard from all of them after the fact, and they were like, oh no, what? And I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, one of the numbers was just.
I found that out after the fact, yeah,
Yeah,
so I
okay.
will reach out to them and make sure we have a better number for them.
Gosh, we're coming along. Next meeting, Tuesday, June 25th, 4 p.m. Everybody,
June, what is it?
25th?
As of last year, you guys did vote to skip the summer meetings.
Yes.
So, you're right, so it would be, if you guys wanted to continue that, it would be skipping the July and August with it resuming in September.
I'd say we go to the June 25th and decide then if we
Right.
want to skip or not skip. We may have some new stuff we want to mess with.
I was gonna say we might.
And that is fine.
Particularly if we have someone new, but.
And that's fine. What you guys can do is if you guys choose to meet there is a skeleton agenda that pops up on My Town Government. I would advise whomever is gonna be doing, like, helping out to kind of fix that a little bit. But generally speaking, really, it's more so the concern would be if you guys want to cancel, just making sure that it's posted as a cancel.
Oh,
Gosh, I used to do that like 5 years ago.
how much in advance?
You have 48 business hours.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's usually, for a Tuesday meeting, it's usually by Friday at 4. Unless it's a holiday, then it's Thursday at 4.
All right.
Anything else?
We are gonna have a social gathering, just to wish me well, which I appreciate. No town business to be discussed, none.
Can it be disgusted?
In your head, yes.
All right, I'll accept a motion.
To adjourn.
To adjourn.
To adjourn the
Second.
dining table.
Yeah, she's cooking. Yeah. 4:46. 4:47.
4:47.
Yeah, don't sell it short. We had that extra minute.
Lori, there's a motion to adjourn.
Oh, aye.
Oh,
Oh.
Would you want me to second it?
No, we
Sorry.
seconded it. It's good. We were just letting you know.
Karen.
Oh, okay.
Aye, aye.
Linda Robbins.
Aye.
Lori Fairbank.
Aye.
Kate Bliss, aye. Pat Wheeler.
Aye.
Bob Blair.
Oh, okay.